You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
When I say who are we, you say Saints. When I say are we ready, you say who? Who are we? Say, who are we? Say, are we ready? Who are we ready? Who are we? Say, who are we? Say, are we ready? Are we ready? This is New Orleans. Let's go, baby. Let's rock. We don't play what you do.
You're listening to the Sport Coma, your number one podcast on everything Saints and a lot more. And now, here's your host, Big Q and her guys.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. We have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. I'm Big Q. You're now listening to Sports Coma Podcast 408. That's right, 408 on the podcast. And for those who don't know, we are the number one independent Saints podcast in the land coming at you. Interesting news, family. I'd like to welcome everybody aboard to the Sports Coma. Round of applause is for you. If you're a first-time listener or an established listener of the show, it's all love, man. Appreciate you joining us today on podcast 408 of the Sports Coma, recapping Camp Day 18-1-8 as we move a little closer to the second preseason game. Very interesting developments I want to go over to with you today. I want to recap Day 18. We'll talk about all the ins and outs, who showed up, who did what today on this 30-minute podcast. Also, besides that, we'll talk about Rishard Matthews. Of course, we covered it on the last podcast, his untimely exit, but we were able to gain some more information from Rishard Matthews. Very weird, maybe cryptic kind of message, going out the other end and quitting and deciding to ultimately leave the Saints. And I thought he had an opportunity to kind of really show up and play, man. I really thought he had an opportunity here. And, you know, if anybody listened to the podcast, I kept saying what great of move was this for Rishard Matthews to come here. They had a hole in the slot receiver position that he obviously had the experience and the ability to fill. It just went south some kind of way. I want to read the message that he wrote as he announced his retirement. We'll cover more of that in the show. And of course, the Saints did sign. They had 3 vacancies along with the releasing of Rishard Matthews of the other day. They placed John, the offensive lineman, on the IR and released another player. And now the Saints have added 2 more. Are they defensive players? We'll let you know. And of course, toward the back end of our show, interviews from Coach Payton, Demario Davis, and Teddy Bridgewater. I'm about to put myself on the interview. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Very interesting, man, today. It's just this what Rishard Matthews thing is just kind of weird. But before we even get into that, let me hit you with some of the latest news and notes on the participation of what happened at camp. But before I do that, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button if you already haven't subscribed to the show. Feel free to share the show with others. And be aware that we do go live every Saturday at noon Central Time on our YouTube page. Feel free to join us for live chat and call in, as well as we cover a lot of the subjects. This upcoming week, we'll cover the Chargers and the Saints. Kind of, I guess you could say, preview the game and have a post game as well on Friday live. And then Saturday, we do a Saturday chat as well to get your guys' comments on the game. Now let's get right into Day 18 of the camp. Now participation: Elvin Kamara, Alexander Loney, Michael Burton, who's the backup fullback, Keith Kirkwood, Will Clapp, Garrett Griffin, Alize Mack, Teron Armstead, Ethan Greenidge, Saquon Hampton, and Marcus Shrells were not involved in the stretching and conditioning portion of practice. Lattimore wore a no contact jersey today, and he kind of didn't participate in any individual drills that happened with the team. Cameron Jordan, who went through stretching and conditions, also didn't join the team outdoors. And then, of course, Monday marked the second straight day that Kamaro's absence. He's been absent from practice with no unknown reasons. As I've said, Sean Payton's been notorious for not giving injury updates during the preseason. Alexander Zeloni and Hampton had not practiced since Friday's preseason opener. Hope it's nothing. A couple of new guys that we'll cover later on in the show joined the team. A former New Orleans player that prep here, Chris Clark, was an addition. And Shane Smith, the fullback. We'll break those guys down after we cover day 18. Butler had a pretty good day two. As Emmanuel Butler is continuing to have one of these big camps. Like, remember Brandon Coleman and a few other these guys had big camps. They were preseason stars and studs. Hopefully this keeps going. He had a good outing against TJ Green, who's a safety that they're playing now at cornerback. So the Saints were enamored with TJ Green, the defensive back they signed a few weeks ago from the Indianapolis Colts. He's about a 6'3" defensive back. He was playing safety. Now the team has him playing more at corner now, so that's interesting. He started off good coverage by pressing on Butler, but ultimately Butler kind of took it to another level where Drew Brees led him, and he was able to kind of step out a little bit, then dive ahead, fully extend, and make a really nice catch before hitting the ground. And that drew, anytime you do something like that, you're going to get a lot of praise from the people, the coaching staff, and the player personnel when they fully extended and make a catch over TJ Green. Also, other things to be noteworthy of, and we're talking about some of the guys that really, as far as defensive backs, not really getting any love. PJ Williams and Ken Crawley had pretty decent camp days, 18s anyway. During indoor one-on-ones, PJ Williams had an interception off of Teddy Bridgewater, who attempted to hit Semi Cobbs on the right side, but they kind of had a miscommunication. But PJ Williams was able to pick up off an interception by a bad route because Cobb went the wrong way. So that was something that happened in camp. Also, Austin Carr has been solid in camp as well. He's been picking it up as well. A lot of people had him as a long shot to make the team, but you got people falling out of the wide receiver room like Rishard Matthews is presenting more opportunities for guys like Austin Carr to shine. Also, Trey Hendrickson to speak about on the defensive end. The defense looked like absolute garbage and crap, except for certain segments of the defense. Demario Davis played well as usual in the preseason game, but nothing else. Third-year defensive end Trey Hendrickson was once again getting in fights. He got in a little push and skirmish with Nick Eason. Now, remember, he got into something earlier in camp. I forgot who he got into it when he was caught. He got into and involved when he was throwing punches with Alizé Mack. That's who it was. It was him, and then he got into it with Nick Easton today. About a week ago, he got into it with Alizé Mack. And you know what? They're saying that they can appreciate his Hendrickson's skirmishes, his feisty nature. It'll behoove Trey Hendrickson to get feisty with the opponent's offense. Try that, Trey Hendrickson. Try getting feisty with the opponent. Stop fighting your own teammates and take your ass over there and see what you can do with an opposing team. See if you can provide a pass rush against the Charger or anybody else that's not wearing the Saints jersey. Try that, Trey Hendrickson. Just food for thought. Also on the other lineups, the Saints tinker with lineups, moving some guys off the first team, putting other guys in. Patrick Omameh, Ryan Groy, and Marshall Newhouse were caught playing with that first team offensive line. Very interesting because Groy and Omameh and Newhouse are all veterans. Be interested to see what these damn guys can do right away. Also, Geno Grissom lined up at right end on the starting unit. On defense, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson took reps at the nickelback, while with Eli Apple and P.J. Williams manning outside cornerback positions. Grissom is a guy that I kind of spotlighted, is another player quietly playing okay during camp and still needs to impress the next few weeks to make the roster. You can look good in camp all you want, but try to bring some of that stuff into the game, man, and do something in the game. He was non-existent in the last preseason game against the Vikings. And then, of course, Sean Payton says he's got a pretty good get off, says Sean Payton, of his first step. I think he's a long way with a handful of those guys in the front. The next few weeks are going to be real important for them. Geno Grissom, third-round pick, picked up by the New England Patriots, spent 4 years with them. Sean Payton sees something in this guy. He's 6'4", 265, fits that defensive pass rusher bill, and hopefully, we'll see what he done. I researched that guy, found out that Bill Belichick and them picked this man up with a third-round selection out of college. And I went and looked up his collegiate stats, found out he only had 8 sacks over 4 years, and no real big, just all second team or all mention, all honorable mention. Not even the first team, but just all honorable mention player. No real special accolades. Real weird, interesting. I guess I can use that term. Why would they take a third-round pick on a guy with so little or so few statistics to back up that charting? So it's not the first time they've kind of wasted picks. I ain't gonna say wasted pick, but kind of took a chance on a guy they shouldn't have took on. But Grissom is a guy that looks the part, just doesn't have the production. Maybe Sean Payton could see something worthy in him. Anyway, speaking of Sean Payton, here's the coach to talk about day 18 and how I figured out.
Well, the late Tony Sperano and I worked together in Dallas and for 3 years, and he's someone that I would say I was very close with. Tony had coached and hired Darren at the college level, so I'd heard a lot of good things from Tony about him. And then, he was at Miami. I'd met him on a handful of occasions, and look, overall, I thought it was a good fit for us. His experience and his ability to teach. His teams have played well, so that's kind of how that really began.
The special teams units here, I mean, the specialists were really strong last year. The coverage units were really strong. So for those guys to step in and have that kind of solid nucleus to work.
Yeah, look, Mike did a tremendous job, and Brad and Kevin. Very quickly we ascended to become one of the better special teams units in the NFL, and you can look at, depending on how you want to look at it, but it played a key part in us winning 13 games a year ago, 14 then considering the playoff game. But there were a handful of games that went in our favor, and there was a play that we could point to in the kicking game that had a lot to do with it. So these guys come in again with the same mentality as teachers, looking to put our players in the best position, be aggressive and have enough things that we can do to take advantage of.
Sean, I know there's a little bit more work to do before the team goes to California, but how much do you look forward to, those interests, those two-team workouts, and you guys seem to get a lot of productive work in against the Chargers?
Well, Anthony and I worked together for 3 years. I feel like our last 2 times we've been with them have been real productive. Both teams are really wanting to get better. They understand that. It's good climate change this time of the year when you have that opportunity. So, and then you're working against a playoff team, one of the better teams in our league.
From an evaluation standpoint, can some of these joint practices be even more beneficial than a preseason
Yeah,
game?
I think so. You might get more reps at something than you might not get in a game. You can essentially script out what you want to see and then who you want to see do it for your own team. And sometimes it's a little bit more difficult in the course of a game.
You mentioned yesterday that the team sort of hit a wall. How do you think they responded today?
I thought pretty good. I thought, again, we got 3 good team periods out here. We'll look at the film and make the corrections. We still need work at the end of game, at the end of the half. That's what we're doing in that last drill. So we got to continue to work that.
Sean, what is it about Chris Clark that you like?
Well, look, he's experienced. He's someone that, has played. And, he's a guy that can come in right away without as much of a transition maybe as some others.
The same apply about Shane Smith?
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk a lot about Drew Brees' longevity and him playing the game for so long, but for maybe positions that are more physical, specifically like a Ted Ginn Jr. at receiver, what do they have to do to have that same longevity be going into his 13th year?
Well, look, there's some good fortune relative to your, injury health. Obviously, there's a lot of training that goes involved in it. They got to be able to run and be in shape, especially at that position.
Coach Sean Payton, man, answering a multitude of topics, including give us some information on the newly signed offensive lineman Chris Clark. We'll break that down momentarily after finishing the camp update as you hear the coach go over a few subjects, man. But let's get back into some of the camp updates here. In particular, we gave some information about P.J. Williams getting an interception. Well, usually when it happens good for P.J. Williams, it happens good for Ken Crawley. Ken Crawley was able to put on, have something good happen to him today, as he had within a 2-minute drill, he had an interception off of Taysom Hill. while he was running the second team offense, Hill was under pressure. The pocket collapsed around him. Thanks in part because of Caden Ellis, who's been doing everything. I mean, Caden Ellis plays on special teams, plays on defense. The guy even waits longer than anybody, stays on the by the fans signing autographs. So the Caden Ellis is a special player. Saints found another gem deep and around in the late portions of the draft. Big ups, kudos to Jeff Island. Hope this guy can kind of contribute to the team and helps him. Now, Crawley did pick off the pass and had nothing but green in front of him. And that was pretty interesting because Crawley haven't really been doing too much at all. But P.J. Williams got an interception today, so if you figure Ken Crawley sooner or later will get a pick as well. And he was mixed among the group. Now, some say that he's probably one of the last on the group that includes guys like P.J. Williams and the rest of the men, Shrells, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, P. Rob is another guy that's on that list. Kevon Webster is another guy on that list that people just always forget that Kevon Webster was brought here as well in June to contribute. And then even Terrell Williams, the big safety, is showing something in camp as well. So really interesting stuff to go along with the Saints during day 18. And in just a minute, we'll play Demario Davis, get his thoughts on day 18. But just to announce today, the team released a statement saying that it has signed tackle Chris Clark and fullback Shane Smith. Now, Clark, 6'5", 305-pound offensive lineman who's a veteran who was originally signed by the Buccaneers undrafted in 2008 out of Southern Miss. Now, he's a New Orleans native who prepped at McDonald 35, so he's a hometown man. He's ecstatic about being back home. He played a career 121 games with 66 starts, both at left and right tackle, and played a little jumbo tight end for the Broncos for 4 years between 2010 and 2014. He was with Houston from 2015 to 2017 and the Carolinas last year. Now, in the second week of last year, in the regular season, he joined them and played 15 games and started 13 at right tackle. So this guy has a great depth of starting experience. And it's real interesting the way the Saints just keep stockpiling these veteran offensive linemen. You have Patrick Omameh, Marshall Newhouse, Ryan Groy, and you can see what Sean Payton's doing is bringing in solid veteran play behind Teron Armstead just in case something happened. He got a guy he can roll in and stop messing with Andrus Peat and moving him from left guard to left tackle every time something happens to Teron Armstead. So that's interesting. Also, the other running back, well, I say fullback, was Shane Smith, 6'1", 240, was originally signed by the Giants in 2017 as an undrafted free agent out of San Jose State. He played 13 games with the Giants in 2017, 2018 with 3 starts at fullback, 1 at tight end, recording 4 special teams tackles. So the Saints get a fullback, and the Saints also bringing another offensive lineman. Now, this could be competition for Zach Line, being that Burton, who was the backup fullback now currently on the roster, has been missing some games. So the Saints are obviously looking to kind of add a little bit of, I guess you said, competition behind Zach Line, just to kind of keep him on his toes, so to speak. But anyway, let's move on and listen to the camp info from Demario Davis.
And everything kind of helps leading up to that week 1, which is where you want to be in full stride. And so I think all of it is helpful, so you just try to take it in stride.
Which one would you say is more beneficial, preseason games or having practices?
It's all beneficial. I wouldn't say it's just different. You want those live reps because in practice, it's a practice rep. You're able to go back and watch the tape, get it corrected. In the game, it's almost like when it happens, it is what it is. It's on tape now. You can't get that rep back. So all of it is beneficial. It's all needed. I think everybody in the league probably is glad that they don't have a week 1 game tomorrow. And so you just want to keep taking it in stride and get better every day.
Mario, what kind of attitude have you seen out of Caden Ellis? He seems like a guy who's just kind of bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to get after it out there.
I think he comes from a good pedigree. Dad played in the league a long time, did really well, and you can tell it's in his genes. A good football player. You get somebody like that that's just hungry to learn, that loves the game of football. Sky's really the limit for him. It's really on him at that point. how good he really can be. It'd be on him.
You said one of the lessons he's learned so far from you is to let football breathe and not just be all about it all the time, but like the time for family and everything like that. Why is that important for a young player like you?
It's probably most important for a young player to let the game breathe. You come in and there's so much information. You go to practice and you learn new stuff. Then you play another team, you learn even more. And there's so much information, but your brain hasn't expanded enough to be able to take it all in because you haven't been around the game long enough. And so you look at an 8th-year guy and want to go out and make the same type of play he makes. It's probably not going to be the same because he's seen that play 100 more times than you. And so being able after practice to go in, kind of let your brain breathe, get in the tub, shower, relax a little bit, call back home, talk to your people, and then come back to it. It's probably most important for a young guy because they'll go from the practice field, go watch the film, back to the practice field, back watch film. They're looking at their playbooks all night. Their mind never is trying to take in so much information, and it's kind of like mental overload, and they actually become a worse player than a better player. But if they let it breathe, that's when you see the young guys that do good.
Let it breathe, says Demario Davis. Let your brain breathe, and don't take in too much. I guess is spill out to Caden Ellis and the rest of some of the young guys, and Caden Ellis is eating up all that information as well, man. And what better player to learn that from than Demario Davis? Demario Davis. Anyway, Demario dropping some knowledge on the family and filling them in. Now, this is pretty. Caden Ellis has really been making some noise, man, in camp, and a lot of people like him. Fan favorite. He mentioned his father, Luther Ellis, who was a 2-time Pro Bowler at the defensive line position. Ellis was always a good player, and he was a problem for the Saints when the Saints went up there to try to play Detroit. So it was really interesting to hear what Demario Davis had to say. And next move is let's listen to what Teddy Bridgewater say. We'll get a few minutes out of Teddy Bridgewater. He'll talk about day 18. He threw an interception today. Let's hear what Teddy got to say about that.
The pre-snap procedures. So whether it's calling in and out the right personnel, breaking the huddle with enough time on the play clock to whether it's make checks or make calls, and we had no false starts or anything like that. So the guys are locked in. That shows great discipline right there. Did a great job just moving the ball, getting scoring drives. Of course, we would love more touchdowns and field goals, but everything was pretty smooth for the most part. Of course, there are always some areas that you have to improve in, and I think that's why we're here practicing.
Coach had mentioned yesterday it seemed like the team hit a wall. How would you assess yesterday's practice compared to today?
Yeah, it's camp. So there are going to be days that feel like camp days, and there are going to be days that you come out here and you feel fresh. So it's part of the game. But I know one thing, you have to continue to be mentally strong when you do hit that wall, and you have to know how to fight through and find something within that motivates you still. And I think that's what we've been able to do as a team. Guys continue to come to work every day. Like I said, of course, it's camp. Some guys may feel like, hey, man, I'm hitting that wall, but somewhere, somehow, we find that willpower from deep within and continue to come out here and give it our all.
That's Teddy Bridgewater, somehow, some way, hitting the wall, finding a way to keep on pressing on. Keep pressing on. So if you ever feel like if you talk to some of the Saints players and they can't find the way to keep going, to keep pushing on, tell them look at their paychecks. That should do it. Tell them look at their paycheck. But anyway, that's Teddy Bridgewater giving a little information, man. Dropping some knowledge about camp. Now, next topic, the last topic of the show before we leave is I want to talk about Rishard Matthews retiring just a day or so after leaving the Saints and announcing his retirement. Today, it was released. The team, of course, Sean Payton said during the the last interview from last year, we played him. He said he left the team and they put on their left team designation. But in today's in an Instagram post left by Matthews, he pretty much put a bunch of stuff out. And let me say it. He says, quote, "The game has given me and my family so much, but that no longer exists. Beating your body up over and over for groups of people to give out a small percentage of the earnings that they don't even need for me no longer exists. The endless training and hours away from my family no longer exists. The brainwashing and dividing of culture for a small piece of jewelry no longer exists. Being around too much ego to even understand that someone has the same skin as you no longer exists. People using me for entertainment and not understanding that I am a black man in America no longer exists. As a receiver, people controlling your success no longer exists. Being around just pure fakeness no longer exists. The crowds cheering no longer exists. The touchdowns, big catches, fun times no longer exist. All people that never talk to you then hit you up for tickets when they see you're close to them, thinking you get them for free, and that crazy when you get them for them no longer exists. LOL. I am thankful to have become financially free, but that income no longer exists. LOL. It was cool being a professional football player and getting to play a kid's game for work. I always will be a fan of the best sport in the world, but for me, that kid game no longer exists. And that's the end of this very I don't know what to make of that, but this is his post that he posted, and ultimately he erased it. Now remember, the little backdrop information on this is he joined the Saints back in June as a minicamp tryout, and people have been, ranting and raving about Matthews. When he was signed on, I was even one of the guys saying Matthews fits the hole at the slot position. He's the perfect slot man. But ultimately, something happened. We seen him in the game against the Minnesota Vikings. He had one catch for 7 yards, but not much else happened. And the next day, he decided to hang his cleats up. So, and I remember saying there's something more to this, but then retires from the NFL. I'll leave that for you guys. This no longer exists. Mantra, poem, or whatever it was. I don't know what to say. But the really thing, it gives you some insight on a player. And some people say the man just took too many hits upside his head, and that's why he wrote this, but not so sure. He could be reaching. This might be something piercing deep down. But what really got me was the fact that he mentioned in there, out of all the things, dealing with money, not understanding and this and not understanding that, but a very unique perspective from a football player to say that, a receiver, and this is his words, as a receiver, people controlling your success and then no longer exists. Being around just pure fakeness. The crowds cheering no longer exists. The touchdowns, the big catches. And then he mentioned something about, the brainwashing and dividing of culture for a small piece of jewelry. Brainwashing and dividing of culture. That's very interesting words that Rishard Matthews tend to use right there. Brainwashing of it. That's a lot of stuff that you could pick and choose from that. Very interesting, man, to say the least. What say of you guys? What do you think about Rishard Matthews' comments that he made via his Instagram post? What do you think of his no longer exists Instagram post? The fakeness and brainwashing that he endured in the league, according to what he's saying. Brainwashing. Is it really that? And some people will say that, well, if you look at somehow some coaches, depending on who he played for, they do kind of institute a little of that because they got to wash away the individual to create a team. We covered this on the show before when we talk about being a coach. They're not just football coaches. Most of these guys, if the best football coaches have to at some time wipe away some of the identity of a player and meld him into a team if they're going to have success, because you're dealing with players that's coming from all over the planet, from different walks of life, from different environments, from different upbringings. Some people are more outgoing, some people are more introverted. So you're dealing with personalities, unique personalities and psyches. So sometimes if you look at some of the best coaches and read some of the literature that most coaches employ, they do tend to use a little of that strategy to wipe away the individual to meld a team. And that's how they win in the league with team. So the brainwashing concept could tie into that, but that's interesting to use those terms and words. That's not something new. I've heard that before, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, that'll do it for the show. If you like the show, share the show, hit the notification bell, subscribe. And remember, we have a live show that we do every Saturday at noon Central Time on YouTube. If you join it, hit the bell, you'll get notified when it does. And also go to the description section below and try our pro shop. Get all the latest t-shirts and merchandise that we have. The new Roger Goodell chump shirt is available. The Dat slap for disrespectful fans that talk crap about our Saints we got the Dap Shop shirt for you. So thank you for listening. Support the show. Thank you for listening. Who that to you. We love you. Peace.
If you haven't heard the Sports Coma, this is what you're missing. Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Homebistro.com. Freshly prepared, home-delivered, restaurant-quality gourmet meals delivered straight to your home. Choose from over 50-plus gourmet meal options cooked by world-class chefs and delivered frozen, ready to eat within minutes and no commitment. Welcome to the one-shop gourmet food delivery, specialized affordable options to eat right and feel great. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Every ingredient is handpicked to the highest standard. And why you should buy from homebistro.com? Restaurant quality, made with natural ingredients, delivered right to your door. Overnight shopping is available. Diabetic, paleo, heart health, and vegetarian options to eat doing business since 1999. Courteous, knowledgeable, and professional support. Complete PCI compliant SSL security ordering, and great meals. Choose from some of my favorite dishes: the Mediterranean chicken with orange honey sauce, the charbroiled chicken romesco, or the grilled chicken breast with sweet and spicy vegetables. No matter what you choose, you can't lose with homebistro.com. Eat great, feel good, and save some money with homebistro.com. Hit the link in the description section below for more information.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top-flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. Embrace Pet Insurance is more than just pet insurance. Embrace Pet Insurance promises to provide genuine support and certainty when your pet needs it the most. With personalized accident and illness policies, compassionate customer care, 24/7 access to veterinary professionals, flexible wellness plans, timely claims processing, and online customer portals, their values is what makes them Embrace. So, when selecting a pet insurance company as a partner in your pet's care, you deserve a company that has your pet's best interests at heart. Get top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Up to 90% back on bills at any vet, total protection, pet insurance and wellness, and dependable claims payments. Get the top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Go to EmbracePetInsurance.com. That's EmbracePetInsurance.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.